So productivity and lesson planning. That's the next section that I have for you guys today. First one is, if you are familiar with Nearpod, there's two different items that you can install into the Chrome browser. First one's called Nearpodize. Second is Nearpod, plain. I wanted to take a moment to make sure that you clearly understood the difference between the two. First is that you can take something that you have on the screen and add Nearpod elements to it. Other is that you can take elements on the screen and move it into Nearpod, which is kind of confusing. But I wanted to make sure that you understood how to use Nearpod if you haven't had the opportunity to do so. So inside the presentation itself is a link to our Nearpod presentation, the basic one, which goes through and tells you a little bit more about what Nearpod is. It gives you information on how to find Nearpod lessons. And at the very end, it will tell you how to create a Nearpod lesson yourself. So that is actually linked inside of today's presentation. So once you become familiar with how to do Nearpod, either by using the lessons that are inside Nearpod itself or by creating your own, please consider going back and start using the actual app extensions that are found in the Chrome browser to help you create more lessons. So if I were to go back to the Chromebook, I wonder why I'm going back to this Chromebook when I can kind of show you the same thing on my Mac. Either way, so I'm going back to the actual Chromebook, and I'm looking up here in the corner, and you'll see that I have an icon, a blue icon for Nearpod, and another smaller blue icon for Nearpod. So hopefully you won't be confused between the two. You roll over on top of it, it'll give you the name exactly what it is. So if I choose the Nearpod one, what it basically is going to do is take me to nearpod.com. And if I happen to be a teacher, I can go ahead and sign in from here. If I happen to be a student, then what I can do is type in a code in order to join a lesson. Now, if you want to consider that the students can get to the same place by just typing in nearpod.com, that's fine. You may have students who are younger, and it may be easier just for them to go ahead and click on an icon instead of typing in that URL or address. I'm turning off the Snap and Read now. So if I click on the Nearpodize, you have to be inside Google Slides in order for this to work. So if you have a Google presentation that you would like to take into Nearpod, this will give you the opportunity to use an icon here, and it will gather up all of the Google Slides and transfer it over to Nearpod. You can basically do the same thing if you have the presentation itself and you decide to use the Nearpod for Google Slides option, which is the new way of doing things. So let's say, for example, this right here, which is the presentation. But if you decide to go ahead and choose to do the Nearpod for Google Slides, which is here, I put some information in there. I linked to it so you can learn more about it. It is an add-on. So now you have extensions, apps, and add-ons. All of these items are here to make things easier for you to get work done. So inside Google Slides, if you go to get an add-on, it'll open up the actual store. It has a lot of things in here that you might want to consider looking at. But I'm installing this, which is a Nearpod for Google Slides, directly into my Google Slides, which means that it's available here when I want to use it. So if I choose Nearpod, open Nearpod, the benefit for using this is that in a pre-existing Google slide, I can now insert items that come directly from Nearpod. So when I run this presentation, there are components inside of it that are now Nearpod components. So both of these are now working together to make it easier for you to do essentially Nearpod lessons. So if you don't know how to do this, there is a link inside the actual lesson, the presentation, that will get you more information about it. And I will be more than glad to go ahead and supply you guys with the information you would need in order to get this started on your own. So that is information about Nearpod for Google Slides, or you can go ahead and use the traditional way and just bring your presentation straight in to Nearpod. And yes, I would encourage you guys to go ahead and attend Nearpod training. We have Nearpod coming up, I think, in Tech Tuesday. That's the opportunity for you guys to go to different campuses around the district. We're there to go ahead and present classes to make it easier for you guys to get to them. And some of the topics that are coming up deal with Nearpod and how to use it within your classrooms.